plants, ferns, trees, and the other ones. The harpsichord. You could learn about all of this on I Don't Know About That with Jim Jefferies. Hi, I'm Jim Jefferies. Welcome to I Don't Know About That with Jim Jefferies. We've changed the order of our podcast a little bit this week. Jack is not with us. Jack's not with us at the moment because he's quarantining again because he's been out on the marches, the Black Lives Matter marches. So I've told, which I'm very proud of him for doing, but I don't want to be near him.
Right. We use that as an excuse, but
yeah. So I've given him a couple of weeks off. I think maybe he just didn't want to work this week. And he's just like, I've been out. No, he's been a very good lad. He has. He went out to Melrose after the riots and he helped clean up. And I think that was very good.
And we took the week off from the podcast.
And we took the week off out of respect for the podcast as well because we didn't think it was our place to be.
Out of respect for the podcast?
Out of respect for the movement.
Yeah.
We didn't think it was our place to be doing a podcast about silly things that week. Right. So we thought we'd give it a miss.
Yeah, it happened to fall on that Tuesday too.
Blackout Tuesday.
Blackout Tuesday.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, a lot of people have been asking me what my opinion on the whole thing is. My opinion is this: I was appalled by the death of George Floyd, and I do believe that there is a problem with the police force, and there's a problem with racism in this country that goes back a very, very long way. What I am encouraged by is I've seen a lot of beauty in these protests. I've seen cops taking a kneel. I've seen people coming together to clean up. I've seen people on social media who previously I wouldn't think would be a ally in this movement, who have changed their stance a little bit. So change is happening, whether it be very slowly or not, it is happening and it is for the good. What I have been frustrated by is okay, so the Black Lives Matter movement, me and you first. Now, 2 specials ago when I did, the last special before the new special that's about to come out, I did in London, I had a routine about Black Lives Matter. And I spoke to you this week. I said, I got to find that routine and put it back up because it sums up what I wanted to say very easily. And the problem with that routine is I didn't record it. And the reason I didn't record it because I thought that would be old news.
Yeah. So racism would be solved.
Yeah, because this was way back. Trayvon Martin, this thing, the guy, there was a whole lot going on then. And then I thought, that'll seem a bit dated.
Right.
Because and then how silly of me to even think that would be something that wouldn't be relevant.
I was really impressed though. I saw on one of your posts on Instagram, somebody said all lives matter and you had a very eloquent response to them and it changed a lot of people's minds. Like
I can read it for you if you like.
You had a lot of people going, I was an all lives matter type of person before now and I read this and I get it. And I was very impressed by what you said. Did you write that?
I did write that. I had my girlfriend spell check it.
Okay, that's where I was like, there's no way.
I think that's very clear that she spell check it. And okay. So I wrote back, someone wrote, why can't all lives matter? We're all one people, blah, 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 blah. Right? And I said, okay, I'm only going to respond to this because I don't want to write all day, you know. And I'm not trying to pick a fight. Of course, all lives matters. Most rational people would think that. But not all lives are having problems right now. Black people have been persecuted against for a very long time and their fight continues to this day. So that's why we all need to say that all lives matter right now. People saying all lives matter minimalizes black people's fight, understand their problems aren't an attack on your life and they just want equality. Joining their fight will only bring us closer together, not further apart. When aliens come down and try to kill us all, I'd agree that we need an all lives matter movement. But until then, let's listen and change. Now, what I mean from that is, of course, all lives matter. Of course, that's not in doubt.
Well, that's the hope that all lives will matter.
Saying Black Lives Matter is saying all lives matter. It's asking for their lives to be equal to our lives. Mm-hmm. And you saying all lives matter is a form of racism, whether you know it or not. So if you're one of these people I'm not talking to you right now trying to change a person's mind who's just against this movement, who's angry and in my mind is a racist, but that's not for me to say, right? Mm-hmm. Someone who's I'm not going to change your mind. But if you're one of these people that I don't get it, I don't understand what saying Black Lives Matter, doesn't my life matter or whatever, but you still support black people and you want them to live and you want them not to be misproportionately being killed by police and whatnot in our society, the best thing you can do right now is just listen and just shut up and know that this isn't your fight right now, and just keep listening. And there might be some things that you don't agree with, and there might be some things you do agree with, but be open to hearing them right now, because that's what protests are all about, getting people to hear.
Yeah.
And so if you can change a few minds through these protests, they're not gone to waste.
And for people who are fighting alongside Black people right now for equality, the approach to people who don't get it, don't be screaming at them. This is not the way to get people to learn and to adjust and to come over to your side. Like, people double down on their shitty opinions when they feel like they have to be
Then they
defensive.
feel like they're being attacked.
So let's all have these conversations. Let's listen to each other, and then fuck all the people that just are completely racist.
Now, I
They can't
also
be-
want to say that I am in no way qualified to be talking about the Black Lives Matter situation, in a sense that I don't know what it's like to be racially persecuted against. I can try and I can try to empathize and I can try to understand, but I'll never, ever truly get it. And so my experience with police has been a positive one throughout my life. I'm a fan of the police. My brother's a cop. The police, we interviewed the cops overseas. We've been on ride-alongs with them and stuff like that. I've been pulled up a few times. Nothing bad's happened to me. For the most part, my relationship with the police has been a positive one. But I can't say that and then see a guy getting his head kneeled on, his neck kneeled on for 8 minutes and go that they're experiencing the same experience as me.
Right.
So I have to sit back and listen. And if all the Black people are telling me that they get racially profiled all the time, they get mistreatment from the cops, I have to believe them.
Right.
I have to believe it. I can't understand it because I haven't experienced it myself, but I do believe you if you say that's what's going on, because there wouldn't be all this kerfuffle if it hasn't gone on.
Well, I think
it's
right
not,
now-
it's not
yeah.
a bunch of people trying to get attention. I'll tell you that much.
Well, right now, when you see all of the videos of the police brutality at the protests, it's like the cops all know they're on camera right now.
Yeah.
And they're still acting like this. So you have to wonder what's going on when they know that they're not being watched by anybody.
Can you imagine the shit that happened before we all had cameras on
I
our
mean,
phones?
just
Here's the other thing
ridiculous.
too, is like anybody that sometimes you see people on social media or online, or you hear it and they'll say, oh, I don't think that, Black people or people of color are, discriminated against more than white people. They're like, white people are too, and they don't see it. If you actually think that people are treated equally, that are Black and or brown or anything besides white, then that just tells me you don't really have any friends
Yeah.
that are Black
Yeah.
or brown or
You've
anything
never-
other than white.
or
You
the
need to
people that
get
are
some
around you
Black
don't feel
friends.
safe telling
Oh
their
no!
stories.
My
You need to
black
get
my
some
black
Black
friends
friends and then-
all
yeah.
have the same story.
Yeah.
You know, my ex dates a black man, and and he has similar type of stories, and it's very obvious that this is going on. Now, another thing is, if you're one of these people who keeps going, all lives matter, and you're getting angry and or you do the whataboutism. There's there was a guy, a white guy who got killed by the cops who was like a mental patient, schizophrenic and all that type of stuff, and they left him for too long, and then they go, what about this guy? We're not saying that nothing happens to you, that you've got nothing wrong in your life either. We're just saying it's a disproportionate thing. And, how can it hurt to bring in new laws, to bring in new consequences, to bring in a new panel of people that say this is much... This guy who kneeled on the neck, he's had about 11 complaints, 2 of which involved guns, and he still was on the job, right? So they must have been able to see this guy a little bit earlier. You wouldn't do it with terrorists. You wouldn't go, oh, yeah, but this is just a bad egg out of all the ones. You have a thing, why don't we catch these people earlier? So that's what we have to work on. We have to work on better relationships between everyone. That's not just the cops and black people. That's all of us, the whole world. We all got to get along a lot better. And then we got to figure out, how do we fix this problem with the police that's going on right now?
Yeah.
Now, if you're one of these people that say all lives matter and all that type of stuff, think back. And I know you don't have to think, but watch something that the documentary like the 13th or something. Watch anyone who fought during the civil rights movement and all the people that were angry at a black student coming onto the campus and lots of stuff. Those people all thought they were right. They all thought they were right. But now history has proven they were wrong, and it's undeniable. And you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So if you're not going to be constructive, at the moment, just shut up and listen. listen as much as you can. And if you're still at the end of listening to everyone's argument, you still have this "I don't believe you" argument, fine, whatever. We can't change.
We can't be reached.
Yeah, you can't be reached. But until then, stop just shouting over the top going, all lives matter, because that means you're not listening. When you're talking, you're not listening.
Yeah. And if you watch any of those videos that we've seen recently of black men being killed and you feel nothing, then fuck off.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
Honestly, get fucked.
Yeah.
All right, let's start the show. Okay, look, we have to read some adverts now. I know that was a very serious subject we were just talking about, but this is also serious. Who has hairy balls? I have hairy ass balls. And how would I fix them, Forrest? How would I fix them? Look, listen up, fellas, because today we have the new Manscaped product alert. Manscaped just released the Weed Whacker. No
That's
nose
not for
and
your
ear.
balls. Not for your balls.
Okay, this is for your nose and ears. I've been using it wrong. The Weed Whacker.
The balls of the face.
The balls of the face. Has God ever created a hole that works functionally? Every hole he's put in the human body just stinks.
Stuffs it with
It
hair.
needs to be cleaned and has hair coming out of it, and fucking it's no good. The Weed Whacker is for nose and ear and in mouth. If you've got it, if you've got a hairy tongue, you'll probably work on that. Hair trimmer. Take a look in the mirror, and I guarantee you'll see them sticking out of that hole. I got the nose hairs. I pull them out. It makes your eyes fucking water. It's time to keep your ear and nose hair looking as nice and clean shaven as your pubes. That's good. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Weed Whacker, the nose and hair trimmer. I actually got this last week when they gave it to me. I have been using it. It's pain-free. It's not pain-free. You're still ripping hair out, but it's good. It's good. It's solid. My girlfriend's tonguing my nose.
Ew.
Because it has a proprietary safe skin technology which helps you prevent nicks, snags, and tugs those delicate holes. I love tugging on a delicate hole. The premium Manscaped Weed Whacker uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. That's easy to say. Its intelligently contoured design enhances the trimming experience and is waterproof, so you can get in your nose there in the shower, do your ears, which makes it easy operation for cleaning as well, because you can clean it underwater. You don't have to just scrub it out with another brush, because then you'd have to buy the other brush, and then we would be advertising, here's your Weed Whacker too hairy, buy this other product. No, it cleans itself. It's good. The only nose hair trimmer on the market with a powerful and recharging lithium-ion battery that lasts up to 90 minutes of use. So, Forrest, you'd have to do a couple of sessions there to get that done, to get it all done, but you get it done in 180 minutes. Nothing wrong with my maths. Have you ever pulled your nose hair with your fingers? It hurts more than nicking your balls, and I've done both simultaneously. Manscaped is making whacking your weeds a time to look forward to, delivering maximum confidence whilst providing hygiene. Yes, you'll get replacement blades every 3 months to keep your Weed Whacker whacking time clean and enjoyable. Look, fellas, look, I'm just talking to you one-on-one here. All right? Don't even think about the rest of the audience. If you're in your car.
You don't think women can use this?
Oh, yeah, fucking hairy-ass women bloody use these as well. Look, fellas, 79% of partners polled admitted that long nose hair is a major turn-off.
What was that poll?
Yeah? The other 21% were blind women. It's time to upgrade your Manscaped routine with the Weed Whacker. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code I don't know at manscaped.com. Thank you, Manscaped, for keeping our pubes trim and our hairs and our holes looking nice. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code I don't know at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code I don't know. What are you waiting for? Go whack your weeds. A lot of people, Kelly, over the years have said that I babble on. But I don't.
No.
No, only in English. I only babble on in English. I'd like to babble on in other languages. If learning a new language is on your do list, Babbel makes it fun and easy to start having conversations in Spanola or whatever.
You really do need Babbel.
En Español?
And Espanol.
Espanol.
Yeah.
See, if I had Babbel, I'd know how to say
Do you
that.
know what that is?
It's the Spanish.
In Spanish.
Yeah.
The Spanish.
In Spanish.
Or whatever your preferred language.
Learned another language.
Babbel is designed to quickly get you speaking your new language within weeks with a daily 10 to 15 minute lessons. Babbel teaches real life conversations. You're not learning words and phrases out of context. You learn through interactive dialogues. Like, Kelly, did you go to the park today?
No, I did not.
Information. Babbel works because it's built around real life, how people actually communicate and what they care about. Lessons are thoughtfully created by over 100 language experts. That's real people, not one of those stupid translation machines. And their teaching method has been proven to be effective across multiple studies. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. They're thinking of bringing Klingon back, but you nerds don't deserve it.
What about
Australian, yeah, I'll teach you right now,
Fair
mate. The speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent. And Babbel is available.
I like how you stopped on that.
And
I better
accent.
pronounce this correctly.
And Babbel is available as an app or online, so your progress will be synced across all your devices. Because you don't want to learn Italian on your phone and then your computer's back to bonjour.
Yeah.
No,
rough.
you don't want that. That's what they speak. Bonjour's Italian, is it? Right now, Babbel is offering our listeners 3 months free with a purchase of a 3-month subscription with the promo code JIM. So you get like 6 months. You'd only be paying for 3 months. Go to babbel.com and use the promo code JIM on your 3-month subscription. That's Babbel, BABBEL.com. Promo code JIM. Babbel, language for life.
All right, and we're back. All right, I would like to introduce our guest for today. Please welcome to the I Don't Know About That podcast, Richard John.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Now, I got to figure out who Richard is. How many
Yeah.
questions I got today?
Yeah, this is judging a book by its cover. Richard, Jim's going to ask you yes or no questions to determine what your field of expertise is in. And he's going to ask you yes or no questions. You can just answer yes or no. Yeah, just ask as many
Well,
as you want.
I
Jim,
can
and
already,
maybe
I can
I'll
already
give a
tell
clue
by
again.
looking at Richard. He's an intellectual. He has books behind him. He has a filing cabinet. He's either an intellectual
A
or
filing cabinet makes you intellectual.
yeah, like people who keep records. I haven't
Yeah.
got a receipt. My tax accountant, my tax guy, my accountant goes, "You got receipts?" No.
Yeah.
No.
Every single important document I've ever had in my life, no idea where it is.
I can't find my birth certificate. Like,
Yeah.
why would I be able to find a receipt? I can't find the deeds to my house. Like,
That's a big one.
Yeah, they're
That's better
around
than your
somewhere.
birth
That means you got
certificate.
to give Jack some more
I
work.
think they're all on emails or something like that. Okay, so you're an intellectual. You keep books. You've got your receipts in your files. I'm going to say that you work
Now you got
in.
to ask yes or no questions.
Do you work
We've
at?
done this so many
Do
times.
you work
now.
at a university?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So are you? You're either, because of all the books and everything. I'm looking at them. You're either an historian or a philosophy type guy. Are you a philosophy type guy?
No.
No. Are you an historian?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So you're an historian. You would have something to do with, God, I don't know. Maybe with what we were just talking. Are you an historian of the civil rights movement?
No.
No.
Do you want me to give you a hint?
Yes, please.
That okay, I'm just gonna say an actor's name.
Okay.
If this helps you. Kevin Costner.
Oh, you're a historian of the Wild West. You like Wyatt Earp and all that type of stuff. You're a baseball historian.
He's shaking his head no. If you were to say- yeah.
He did a lot of baseball movies. You're a sports historian.
No.
Do you want to get another guess?
Yes,
or you're
please.
done? Okay. Do you have a
No, I'm still trying to
Kevin
figure out
Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
you know what it is, and you don't know it's Kevin Costner.
Yeah. Did you
yeah, no.
give Whitney Houston drugs? That's a rumor I'm putting out there. The bodyguard always helps you out like that.
Here's another one. See if this is the only one, because I'm trying to make it hard still. The Wright brothers
The Wright brother. Oh, you're a historian of aviation.
and Kevin Costner. Those two
And
things.
Kevin
No,
Costner.
Wright brothers and Kevin.
This is quite a riddle.
Okay, so Kelly can't even get it. I'm just gonna tell him what
I
it
mean,
is.
I know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the Wright brothers and
I'm going to introduce Richard John properly. Richard John is a professor of history and communications at Columbia Journalism School of Columbia University and he has a book called "Spreading the News: The American Postal System from Franklin to Morris." Available on Amazon.
Why is Kevin Costner
Yeah.
got to do with the
You gotta
postal
explain
system?
yourself.
He had a
Forrest.
movie where it was called The Postman.
Oh yeah.
And then the Wright brothers, isn't that the most expensive stamp? I was trying to make it hard. I'm not
That's the
trying to
most
give it to you.
expensive.
An upside down
Did
Wright
people
brothers.
see the postman?
I don't know, but I'm trying to
Well,
make it hard. I don't want to
okay.
just give it away.
I know a little bit about the post
Do you?
system.
Okay,
Oh.
I've used it.
so
Pretty much an expert.
Ask me anything. Stamps.
So was that so Richard John, thank you for being here, by the way. So you can you can talk about anything US Postal Service related now, or
Okay.
we try to tell them.
So you asked me some questions. And
So what we're gonna do now, Richard, is we're gonna ask Jim. We're gonna ask him to tell us everything he knows about the U.S. Postal Service and in general anything related to that. And then at the end, I'm gonna prod him with some questions too. And at the end of that, we're gonna grade him, and you're gonna grade him on accuracy from 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Be fair, be harsh if you need to be. Kelly's gonna grade him on confidence from 1 to 10. And I'm gonna grade Jim on how he smells today.
I know a couple of things, man.
Okay.
He's
Well,
already
hopefully
confident.
you smell well because it's gonna be low score. So, all right,
I smell all right.
Go ahead, Jim. Like,
I've
first,
just woken up.
Do you want? First of all, tell us. Just tell us what you know first.
So the U.S. Postal Service. So the Postal Service, what it does is it delivers letters to people
Oh.
across America. So if you're sitting in your car right now going, "I'd like to learn something," fact one.
Okay. All right.
Delivers- and probably some parcels.
And parcels.
The bigger the parcel, the more stamps you need. You can't just go with one stamp. A stamp is for a regular letter, and then a parcel will need several stamps or one big block stamp that covers them all. Now, stamps.
Is this really what you know about that?
Yeah, I
thought
know
you were gonna
this.
actually drop some knowledge.
Now,
Okay.
stamps. Okay, so the first Postmaster General
Okay.
was Benjamin Franklin.
Nice.
Benjamin Franklin was the first Postmaster General. Now, it's a little known fact. It's a little known fact there, Normie, that because he was a postman. Cliff Clavin was a postman on Cheers. Also, the Postmaster General is like sixth in line for the presidency. There's like, you go the vice president and you go the speaker of the house, and then it's like, it might be the Postmaster General like next. Like he's really high up the Postmaster General. He's like 4, 5, or 6 to be president, right? So it's a cool job. I don't know who the Postmaster General is right now.
And what do they do? What's that job?
They're in charge of the post office, and they've got to be like a neutral sort of thing where they're like, I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. I just help out with the post service because this is for the people.
I'm passionate about mail.
Jerry Seinfeld has a routine he's been telling for 40 years about the post office that he's repeated on his last special. He loves the post service. He does the whole thing about the stamps. They go up by 1 cent. What are people going to do? Oh, no. Oh. And it's like, now with emails and people in the mail, why do we need the post service? He's obsessed. He's crazy obsessed with the post. That and Pop-Tarts really get his goat. He wakes up and goes, fucking stamps, right? Now, the stamp, this is what I don't get. The stamp is one of those things that in our society, I've never understood how long it took for it to transfer over to stickers. How long were we licking toxic glue on our tongue and sticking something on a corner of a fucking envelope? And the shops, the post office, was selling stickers. They were selling stickers to kids, and yet they went with stamps. Oh, we'll stick with the lick. But for the people who work there, they can't be licking them all day. Give them a wet sponge. Give them a wet sponge in a little tiny cup. And that's how they'll do it. And then no one thought, make it a sticker. Now, you know what I think that was?
I wonder who thought of that.
That was the corrupt fucking stamp collectors who wanted them original, and they went, stickers, I can't put them in my little book.
Yeah.
I can't put them in my little book. So they kept the glue companies. They were corrupt as fuck as well. and the glue companies were going, keep them sticky. We want these people's tongues tasting awful for the rest of the day just because they wanted to write a letter.
I like
Next
the way
week's
they
episode
taste.
is
Do you
the
like
history
it?
of
Yeah, I used to
Elmer's.
like licking stamps.
Also with envelopes,
That
they used to,
explains things.
now they have the peel off bit on the envelope, you just stick it down. You used to have to lick the whole thing.
Yeah.
Getting paper cuts on your tongue.
I've gotten so many paper cuts on my tongue.
Okay.
It was the Wild West.
Speaking of stamps, when were stamps introduced?
They were introduced pretty much when it first happened. So let's say the post office was introduced. That's a bigger question.
Yeah.
The post office, so Benjamin Franklin.
They were talking about the United States Postal Service.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. United States Postal Service. I'm going to say was 1782. That's
Okay.
when it was introduced. 1782.
And then when did stamps come in? Right.
They
at the same time?
They came in July,
Wow,
July of 1795.
wow, very,
Before
very
that-
specific.
before that-
do you have a day?
People would just write in the corner 2 bits or whatever the currency was. I'll mail this for 2 bits, right? And then they'd send them. It was the 4th of July. It was a thing they brought in to make everyone happy on the 4th of July, so we
4th
could all have a celebration.
Everyone was very happy when they
And
introduced
And the first stamp was just a picture of Washington.
okay,
Yeah, that was the first stamp. That was probably right, I probably got that right.
you might be right. I'm not
might
sure
be.
about that.
Yeah, or it was a cherry tree. So just some wooden false teeth. Just, those funny ones they bring out every now and again
Yeah.
where you go, I'll buy some of them. Get
And
some with Dolly Parton on it.
Were we the first? Was this country the first to have the postal service?
No, I don't believe I believe the Postal Service was already up and running in the United States, and you guys stole the idea.
United States?
Great Britain,
UK.
United Kingdom. United Kingdom was the
What do
the
you mean we
place.
stole the idea? It's not like music or something. We're
Like,
just like,
oh, they have a really good idea. They send
No,
mail.
but you didn't invent it. You didn't invent it. It was invented by the British people, and the British people had they had to have the postal service, but it was a lot easier there because it was a smaller country. So here, the postal service was really limited to you could only post letters in states that were around you that could be carried on horseback or whatnot. Then, with the invention of the plane in the early 19th century. 20th century, in the early 20th century, the invention of the plane, right? The 1908 or something it was, right? When that was invented, then by the 1930s, they started going, we can bring post across the country like that. Now, how did they get mail out to people during World War One? Good question, Kelly. It took a very long time, and it was brought by boat. Bought by boat.
Wow.
And then you'd have to write in the letter. I've never understood this. I got a letter from my love. Like in the Civil War, they were going, I have received a letter from my love. And it's like, how did you find these cunts?
Yeah.
Like every war movie, I'm like, someone's just sleeping in a muddy trench. It's like, do you go 3rd trench to the left, 4th pocket, Joe with trench foot. I found you. Like how much? My mail gets lost all the time.
All of the time.
All the time. How did you write a letter to your loved ones back home, or them, more importantly, write a letter to you, and it still got there, is beyond me. I'm just saying it was a better time back then where people took pride in their work.
okay, when did they? You mentioned parcels. When did they start carrying like packages, delivering packages, parcels?
They started. That was very close. That was 1900. They started doing parcels.
1900.
1900.
And did anybody oppose this? Was anybody upset?
Oh yes. The
Of course,
the
'cause I
people
asked the question.
the people against terrorism were worried that the parcels
Against terrorism?
Yeah, because there's been terrorists for a long time. It's not a new thing for us.
But who's the people
Not a
against
new
terrorism?
thing. There was
that
arguments that the people who built this country were terrorists that were trying to overtake a government, right? So there was people who were opposed to putting in the parcels, bombs or whatnot, that people like, or small poxy blankets that could be delivered to the Indian folk or whatever. There was people said, don't do that. That goes against human rights. And then someone was like, I'm just trying to send some fucking cookies. And they were like, all right, go on then. Go on.
All right, hang on. Let me ask you a few quick questions here and a couple more, and then we'll get to see how well you did. How is the United States Postal Service funded?
It's government funded by tax dollars, but it also is self-efficient because it runs through the selling of stamps. And so the stamp money tries to cover what we've got, but it does things you can still
So it's both taxes and what
taxes and revenue.
Okay. And then how many post
Because
offices are
I
there?
don't believe a stamp would cover the delivery of an actual letter. I believe it's subsidized by the government.
Okay. And then how many post offices are there currently? And then how many pieces
golly.
of mail?
There would be
they
thousands of post offices, thousands of them. I'm going to say, okay, per capita, 330 million people. I think there has to be a post office for every 10,000 people. So would that be right, me saying 30,000 post offices?
Do you want me to tell you if you're right?
No. I'm
Okay.
happy with 30,000.
Okay.
30,000 post
and then
offices.
how much mail is delivered each year? Like how many pieces? Like everything.
31,000.
Okay. Yeah.
No. It would be.
You said it.
No. No, I believe that the pieces of mail there would be in America. There would be everybody gets 10 million. 4 billion pieces of mail.
4 billion.
I do love when you do the
not
shake like you're doing a math equation
not
in your head.
including junk mail. Junk mail doesn't count, but like addressed, like this letter has to get to a person.
Okay.
And I get about half of that.
What's going on? What's happening currently with them? I mean, there's been some problems with the United States Postal Service. Problems they've faced over the years. I don't know if you know
One
any
of
of
the problems is
I don't know if you know any of
people-
this historically, but what's happening with them right now?
There's a lot of drugs that get transferred during the US Post, and what happens is the postman. I've read a thing on this. A lot of the postmen think that because it's an arrestable offense to send drugs or whatever, they just take them for themselves. So there's a lot of embezzling of drugs where the postal workers are collecting and keeping the drugs for themselves.
Okay. Besides drugs,
Right.
is there anything else you know currently that's going on that might be threatening the post office? As we know,
UPS is not good for the post office or FedEx. And I'll tell you what's really fucking with the post office. Ship station. Because with Ship
I knew you were
Station,
gonna say that.
you get the best possible rates at the best possible time to get your parcels out to fast and free to the people who need them. Ship Station. Make ship happen. That's free, Ship Station.
It's one of our sponsors. Okay. So, all right. I think that we are good. I think you've exhausted your knowledge of the Postal Service.
I don't think there's much more to say.
Well, we'll see. You know. All right, Professor Richard John. Thank you for sitting through that. How did Jim do on a scale of 1 to 10 on accuracy? And we'll go over all the answers after. So,
How about a 4?
All right.
4.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Professor.
All right, that's not bad.
That's not a passing grade.
Yeah, but it's
You
me,
should have seen the
it's
last
me
course.
first. It's me first day in the course. If this is day 1, I'm already up to 4. I
Not
can
bad.
finish this bastard in a week.
By the way, I didn't even tell you our categories. We're going to add these all up, all 3 categories of accuracy, confidence, and how Jim smells. If he grades 26 through 30, you'll be a postmaster general. With a 4, I don't think you're going to get there. 20 through 25, priority mail, like MALE though.
Yeah.
You get it? Yeah, okay. That was
Yeah,
Kelly's. 13 through 19, friendly neighborhood mailman. 7 through 12, you're a used stamp. It's not good.
You stamp, they're the most expensive ones if they're old.
Okay, well, depends.
You know what? A new stamp's only worth 46 cents. I don't know how much a stamp costs. I should add that in.
Oh yeah, how much does a stamp
How
cost?
much is a stamp? 46 cents?
46 cents.
Is that, would that be right?
No,
sounds
it's not.
sounds like in the ballpark.
No, it's not.
It's in the ballpark.
It's in the ballpark, but
Yeah.
you can't be that far out of the ballpark and be
I
alive.
bought like 5 stamps 3 years ago. Was the last time
You
I
bought 5?
Yeah, I think I bought I used 3 at the post office and I have another 5. or something.
If you
Round it up to 8.
If you grade 0 through 6, you're a lost package. All right, so you've got 4 points so far. Kelly, on confidence, how did Jim do?
This might be the most confident he's been so far.
Thank you.
I'm going to give him a 9.
Wow,
9, yeah.
Confidence minus knowledge
Fake
equals.
it till you make it.
Jim, I can't smell you from here.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, so that means that's pretty good. I don't want to get too close.
Social
you know.
distancing. I can't get a
COVID.
bad score.
I'm gonna
But-
give you a 5.
A 5.
Wow.
Just
For
because
us.
I have to go in the middle somewhere like that, you know. Because I
And
can't
also, he
confirm.
smelt me before.
Yeah, I have smelled you before.
Just the history of Jim's
Yeah.
smell gives him a
So
5.
you got a total score of 18. You're the friendly neighborhood mailman. All right. Thank you,
Hey, Jay.
Professor
Thank
Richard
you very
John,
much.
for being patient. Now, let's just start with the beginning where Jim was. Jim says the Postal Service delivers letters and parcels. Is that true?
It delivers letters and parcels. For much of its history, it's also delivered newspapers and magazines. Letters and parcels is pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. That's where I got one of my points.
Okay. And then why? Let's just start with this. Why does the United States have like a United States Postal Service? Like what happened to and when did that start? Jim said it was I think it was 1795. He said so.
1782.
1795.
You were
1782.
pretty
Oh, sorry.
damn close.
Oh, he took notes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the post office goes back to 1775. We took over post office under British Crown. He was right about that.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin was the first postmaster general. Big changes. Yeah, right about that. Big changes occurred 1792.
So,
So
yeah.
not much happened in 82.
Do you want to know why I know that question? It's one of the things on your citizenship test.
Oh,
is it
it?
really?
Yeah, it's one of the questions
Oh.
is name me 3 things that Benjamin Franklin got up to, and I can't remember the other 2, but that one stuck with me.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I looked it up yesterday.
And did that go on your test when you took it?
I didn't get that question, but I studied for the test, and that was one of the questions that I studied. But that wasn't one of the 5 questions that I received. Or maybe I get 10 questions. One of the 10 questions I received. I got all my questions right. I was very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And so
We could do that one day. We could test me on that. I reckon I've still got it all.
Jim said that they're 6th in line for the presidency. Is that true?
The Postmaster General is no longer in the cabinet. Hasn't been since 1971, so no longer in line for the presidency.
But when he was, what rank?
It was at the bottom of the cabinet. So there were more than 6 cabinet offices, maybe 12, 13 at the bottom, but he was in line, but not he or she, not in line anymore.
So you're saying there's a chance?
No.
Wow. So they
Not anymore.
were 12th in line though. That's still pretty impressive.
Yeah. If there was a King Ralph situation, they could have become the president. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what King Ralph is, it's a movie with John Goodman where the royal family of Britain all get together for a family photo. They're in a puddle, there's an electric cord, they all get electrocuted, they all die. And so all the British family's dead, so they go, oh, what are we going to do now? And they find out that second cousin, third cousin is a blues singer, John Goodman, in New Orleans, who becomes King Ralph.
That sounds incredible.
It's a good film, King Ralph.
All right.
A lot of
watching that
history in
today.
there.
And how does Postmaster General become the Postmaster General?
Appointed by the Board of Commissioners, the governors of the post office. Before 1971, the Postmaster General would have been appointed by the president. But since the USPS was established, we have a board of governors that make that call.
Wouldn't you love to see Trump appoint someone Postmaster General? See that day? This guy's fantastic. He knows stamps. He
Delivers
knows
the best
envelopes.
mail.
He delivers the best mail. You're going to get things on time. That's my impersonation of Trump. It's not an impersonation of Trump. It's actually impersonation of Trevor Noah doing Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Speaking of stamps, Jim said that right now they are currently 46 cents. I believe that's wrong. And then stamps to stickers. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, why do we keep the glue for so long?
You know, that's one of the reasons I gave you such a high grade. You might just be right about that. Postage stamps are collected by philatelists, and they don't like stickers.
Yeah, I don't like stickers. It was the stamp collectors who were making my tongue all hairy.
and the glue companies you said are corrupt.
The glue companies, they wanted a piece of the action.
Big glue.
Big glue.
Yeah. They're not good.
Now we just have horses running around willy-nilly.
Jim said that stamps were introduced in July of 1795. July 4th of 1795.
Well, they were in England before because the Queen had to be on the stamp. The Queen had to be on the stamp before. And so they would have had the Queen. They would have got rid of the Queen. I'm going to change my answer. They brought it in straight away.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's not correct.
Ah.
Great Britain, Queen Victoria, postage stamp 1840. First postage stamp, United States, Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. You got a point there. 1847.
1847. There you go. And what did I say?
You said
Originally?
1795.
So, okay. Well, I'm telling you, I'm in a 50-year range. I'm not.
50-year
No,
range?
no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm a 53 years.
But still.
No, 50. I've still got that
How are we
wrong.
going to give you credit for 53 years?
In the big scheme of things.
No. And then Jim didn't mention this, but the Post Office Act of 1792. But I guess that's when it started, or that's when?
Well, with the Post Office Act of 1792, the institution got its current civic mandate to bind the nation, to circulate newspapers and magazines at low cost, to expand rapidly into the hinterland in advance of demand, and to guarantee privacy. That is to say, no peeking at your letters. That's 1792.
Before that, they could have a look, could they? They could have a little look-see.
And they could have a look-see in Britain, in France, and in the continent. And the founders, a couple of them had been diplomats, and they didn't like that. And so we legislated you cannot open a letter.
Are you allowed to read
what's inside?
Are you allowed to read a postcard? That's right in front of you.
It's impossible
right.
not to.
Now, postcards were different, so were newspapers, but letters were special.
Okay, no, if it's sealed up, that seems fair
Before
enough.
that, you had that wax. You had to
Oh yeah,
wax
you
it
have the
up.
wax and you have your little marker stick that you put in there. That goes, there you go.
But then if
That's-
it was broken, what could you do? Just be like, yeah, somebody read this. Like, something you could
oh,
do.
my mother would just open my mail.
Yeah?
She wouldn't give us stuff.
Okay, and then how did they find people to deliver mail in the war? I know that Jim said they just threw
Yeah, how
trash
did
on the
they?
lift.
How does a letter get to a person in a trench in the First World War? Because they always, and even the Civil War. I've watched the Ken Burns Civil War documentary, and there's always letters. Oh, my dearest Beatrice, the war is coming to an end, but my lust for you is never going to end. You know, that type of stuff, right? So how did they get their letters?
The post office had a very effective wartime mail service, and the military supported it because it was critically important for morale. And you're absolutely right. The Civil War our memory of it is all kind of mediated through soldiers' letters sent through the post office.
Post office, given its
I've
history.
never really even thought about that. Like,
Yeah, they're
That's-
just in a field.
yeah.
So how did they? So when you say that the military did it, so they'd go because everyone had to hang out in their platoons.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a platoon is what 100 people or something.
I'm not sure. I just know.
Yeah,
there's a
it was
movie.
around that, around
I
that.
couldn't tell you platoons, all the different breakdowns. I don't know. How that
But they
works.
have the names where Foxtrot, blah blah blah, platoon or whatever, and platoon number 4 or whatever we want to call ourselves, right? And so they have those 100 guys. I assume the general of that area or the officer or commander of that platoon would have a list of all the people, and so you have to mail the letter to the platoon, and then the guy would have to find the person within the platoon.
Right.
And then if MASH is anything to go by, there'd be like a radar-like character that would come around once a week. You wouldn't get him every day. And he'd go, oh, the post is in, and everyone would come in. And
It's a platoon consists of 3 to 4 squads or sections, and a company contains 3 to 5 platoons, and a platoon is usually 16 to 44 soldiers. So
100's sort of the right
you got
thing.
a squad, platoon, and then company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought in war I'd be one of the good guys with a drum.
We're coming.
Yeah, I
You don't
remember-
get a gun.
Well, this is the thing about war. Okay, back to the stamp thing. I go on tangents. I'm sorry, Richard, but with the war, how long did it take them to go, hey, we can make these outfits less noticeable? like the red coats. The British
Yeah.
were wearing red.
Yeah.
And then like who was the first person to go, why don't we make our outfits look like the trees? Oh, yeah, that's going to be a winning combo.
Next week's episode.
All right. I think we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Mac Weldon. Mac Weldon is better than whatever you're wearing right now. What you're wearing right now is shit. You're wearing crap because Mac Weldon is a premium men's essential brand that delivers in smart design and premium fabrics. I bet you're wearing stupid design and ratty material. Not with Mac Weldon. Mac Weldon does indeed offer the industry-leading underwear, but there's so much more. If you've just got the underwear, you don't know the full story because they're more than an underwear company. They're really a one-stop shop for men basics of all kind. They're basics. You got your socks, you got your shirts, you got your hoodies, you got your underwear, and your new adjustable Storm Chaser raincoat. Really, the longest-lasting, highest quality on the market. Best one you'll get. Mac, you know what he delivers? He delivers in smart design.
He believes.
He believes in this as well. He doesn't just deliver it, he believes in the product he delivers. Mac Weldon won't do you wrong because he believes in smart design, premium fabrics, and simple shopping. I could do it. All right? I've bought some stuff from Mac Weldon. I got the underwear.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got the underwear. I got the socks.
Comfy?
Got them online. Piece of fucking piss, mate.
Nice.
Easy as you come.
That sounds bad for people that are American.
Mac Weldon is the most comfortable underwear, socks, shirts, undershirts, hoodies, and sweatpants and more than you'll ever wear. You won't even wear anything close to this. They have a line of silver underwear and shirts that are naturally antimicrobial. Say it for us.
Antimicrobial.
Antimicrobial, which means they eliminate odor.
Say it
And
again.
who couldn't do antimicrobial? Which
pretty good.
means they eliminate odor. And who doesn't want that? They want you to be comfortable. That's what Mac wants. He just wants you to be comfortable. So if you don't like your first pair of underwear, you can keep them. He doesn't want them back. He'll even send you the refund.
I mean,
Please do
why-
not
no
send them
question.
back.
Why would he want them?
No, he doesn't. Not like those other shonky companies that take them back and then bloody send them out to
Send them to
another
someone
customer.
else.
You know, you ever bought a pair of underwear in the box and they've been packed in there, someone's already pulled them out? Fucking annoying that. Not only does Mack Weldon's underwear, socks and shirt look really good, they perform well too. It's good for going out on dates. Do you ever wear them out on dates?
Yeah. I wear them in the bed, wear them in the shower.
Oh, in the shower.
Yeah, that's how I wash them.
That's how he washes it. Mack Weldon really doesn't value his loyal customers. That's why they've created the Weldon Blue loyalty program. Here's how it works. Number 1, create an account. It's totally free. Level 1, place an order of any amount and never pay for shipping again. Repeat, never pay for shipping again. Then level 2, once you purchase $200 worth of products from Mack Weldon, not only will you continue to receive free shipping, but you'll also start receiving 20% off every order that you make for a year. And then level 2 should really be level 3, but it's an extra step in level 2. Also grants you access to new products before they're released to anyone else, as well as free gifts added to future orders. So how can you go wrong? Join the Weldon Blue program and you'll get... Okay,
Yep.
I'll tell you what. For 20% off your first order, visit Mack Weldon and enter the promo code, I don't know. So you're not even part of the program yet. This is just your first order. You get the underwear, you put them on, you don't like them, you get to keep them, you get the money back. So you got money in your pocket, you got new underwear, and you got 20% off, and you're part of a loyalty program. Thank you, Mac. Thank you.
You can't lose.
That's 20% off your first order. Visit MackWeldon.com and enter the promo code, I don't know. There's never a bad time to save money, is there? But now more than ever, finding smart ways to put some cash back in your pocket can make a huge difference. One way to do that is to save on the things you already pay for, like home insurance. If you own a home, reshopping your home insurance rates with PolicyGenius.com, Policy Genius could save you a good chunk of change. And the best part is, it's really easy. First, head to PolicyGenius.com and answer a few quick questions about yourself and your home. Like, Kelly, what sex are you?
I'm a female.
Do you own a home?
Absolutely not.
Okay, no good. No good. We don't need you at Policy Genius. When you got one, keep that in your
I
back
do have
pocket.
a car, though.
Yeah,
You
but
got a
Can
car?
I
They
get
do
a car?
cars too. I know
well,
you
then-
haven't gotten that part, but
Then
they do
that will
cars.
work for you. That'll work for you. The Policy Genius will compare policies against other top insurers to make sure that you're getting the right home insurance coverage at the best possible price. If Policy Genius finds you a better rate than the one you're currently paying, they will take care of everything and get you switched over. You don't have to do anything. You own a car, do you, Kelly?
I sure
We've
do.
got something for you. Policy Genius will compare your home and auto policies across different insurers and even mix and match them. So you might have one over here with one company, whatever gets you the best rate. They find your savings. They've saved their customers on average $1,127 per year doing just that. Think of what you could do with $1,127. So if you'd like to put a little bit of cash back in your pocket right now, see how much you can save by reshopping your home insurance rates at PolicyGenius.com.
And we're back. Did you say we're back?
Yeah,
We're back, doubly back.
Yeah.
All right. We're here with Professor Richard John.
Buy that product I just said.
We're with Professor Richard John, who's a professor of history and communications at Columbia Journalism School at Columbia University. We're talking about the United States Postal Service. All right, let's get back to the questions that Jim answered, and then we'll find out some other interesting stuff that we didn't talk about. Jim said that parcels started around 1900. They started delivering it. Is that correct?
That was pretty close. Yeah, about 1914.
1914.
Okay.
And they're not quite right on the opposition, though.
Oh, there wasn't terrorists?
No.
Did it have something to do with the First World War and people wanting parcels? Was that an impetus for it?
Well, yeah, it was an impetus, sure, but there were a lot of merchants and the storekeepers who didn't want parcel posts because they feared that it would undermine their local business. You'd no longer go to your local clerk to ask about buy what you needed to buy. You'd instead just buy it right through the mail.
See, this is the thing, and it proves over time that they were right. Shopping centers are going bust now. No one wants to go because everyone gets everything through the internet. Everything gets everything delivered. Why would you leave your house? That's why I get my Blue Chew straight to my house.
I really hope these are our sponsors today. So, Okay, so Jim, funding of it. Jim said the United States Postal Service is funded by government tax dollars, but subsidized by revenues.
Fact.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Oh.
It's important we understand that. Since 1971, the Postal Service has been self-supporting. When it runs a deficit, it borrows money. Now, before 1971, you're right. The post office did often run a deficit. In fact, it ran an annual deficit almost every year between 1851 and 1971. But since 1971, and that's a long time, it hasn't been a line item in the federal budget.
And why has it been running so efficiently? Because I feel like people are sending less letters now. So how does it survive? I feel like it would get worse and worse. Is it just putting up stamps, or is it the drugs?
Well, that's a good question. Post office today delivers about half of the world's mail. It's one of the largest organizations of its kind, really in the history of the planet. And they make money on parcels. They still make money on first-class mail, though they make less every year. And they work closely with UPS, Federal Express, Amazon, in order to facilitate the movement of these parcels that is a growing sector of the business.
Now, I've heard something, and I've said this to people as a fact, and I may be wrong about this. So the post office has its own planes, but also when you're on a commercial flight, am I correct in saying that there's many parcels underneath us, that they rent out space on commercial flights?
Yeah, that's very perceptive, and it's really kind of interesting. The commercial airlines in the United States started up because they had mail contracts. In other words, it was a subsidy from the government that made it possible to start up all those routes in the 1920s, 1930s. So the post office and the commercial airlines have been very closely connected right from the beginning, still closely connected today.
Right, so when they weigh my bag and they go, oh, it's 2 pounds over, and they're delivering fucking dumbbells to a meathead over the other side of the country, why am I in trouble? I know you don't have an answer to that, Richard. I'm shooting the messenger.
Yeah.
Hey!
You'll be emailing JetBlue later.
Does the term shooting the messenger come from an incident?
I don't think so.
I think it's kill the messenger.
Kill the messenger? I think
Kill the messenger.
yeah, kill the messenger.
Going postal.
That comes from what is the stats on that? Because postal workers go crazy and start shooting people up or whatever. Is it just that industry attracts these type of people, or is it a stressful job that brings this on?
Very stressful. Large workforce, and the demands vary from time to time. So that's you had a couple of incidents. I think it was 20 years ago, and that's where going postal comes from. Yeah, you think about the volume of mail and the number of pieces that clerks have to handle every day. It's really quite remarkable.
Now, the term, whether it's snow or rain or hail or sleet, we're coming. That's the saying.
Yeah.
Right. Where does that originate from? Is that just one guy said it, or is there an incident of that?
It was put on the New York post office. I think it goes back to Herodotus referring to ancient Persian courier service. So it wasn't even really post office that was the inspiration for that. But the post office administrators liked that in the early 20th century, and
when did they get snow and sleet in Persia?
You know, you're right.
Yeah, they're just going. It's like me living out in Arizona like this. Whether it's a tsunami,
just somebody making themselves sound like a hero. Found a big plot hole in this story.
So Jim said there was 30,000. Jim said there was 30,000 post offices. Was he correct?
Hit that one almost right on the head. Yeah, about 31,000 today.
Oh, man, you got to give me a better mark than 4, dude. I'm telling you, this is the most right I've ever been, and other people have dropped 8s on me.
It is true. I do like that you graded him hard.
Yeah.
But, and then I want to ask you how much mail is delivered by the post office each year. You said 4 billion pieces.
4 billion pieces.
That was pretty low. The post office, let me see. I don't have it on the top of my head.
You wrote to me.
There was 143 billion pieces of mail to 160 million addresses every year.
Wow, let's say every address gets it. We all get it.
It's about half of all the mail in the world.
So there's
Half,
140.
half of all the mail in the world is done here in America.
That's
half.
insane.
Yep.
That's insane. That's because there's so much, I noticed that moving here from Britain and Australia, we get more junk mail here.
Yeah.
We get more stuff just constantly sent to us. And what I don't like is the envelopes that say, important, you must read, and then it's like, you've been pre-approved for a credit card.
Yeah.
That should be fucking illegal.
I don't even
that
open
stuff.
my mail anymore. Like having mail gives me so much anxiety. Like everything I do, like bill pay is online, but they keep sending paper mail. I just can't do it.
I get Jack to do it.
Yeah.
And then Jack tells me how it's going.
Once I have money to have an assistant,
You need to get a Jack.
I do.
Yeah.
Jack doesn't help me with anything.
So Jim said that one of the controversies is a lot of drugs are being delivered through the mail. I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, but people deliver drugs through the mail. I had a friend who once was living in Sydney and then moved to Perth and wanted to have some ecstasy tablets. So my friend lined a strip of a CD, that little spine,
Yeah.
with pills and delivered them to himself.
I just sent somebody Xanax recently.
He was an idiot.
That fucking loser.
Well, other than drugs, has anything interesting been sent in the mail that we'd be surprised by? You have something here that was interesting, I thought, about the Hope Diamond.
I put that in there.
Oh, you put that in
Yeah.
there. You know,
Yeah. Well, the hope it's an interesting problem. How do you send something that's really, really valuable? So if you make a big fuss about it and you send it insured through a private courier, the fear was, it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars and it would disappear. In fact, there was a package sent that way that disappeared within the hour.
Oh.
You just sent the Hope Diamond through the post office, regular rates, and it got there.
All right, because
No
they
problem.
didn't tell him because the people wouldn't have seen that it was registered, so they wouldn't
Right.
have thought it was special.
no, but they insured it. This is what it says here.
Did
They
insure it, yeah.
insured it for $1 million. So
But how much was it worth though? I can't remember. It was like something.
either way,
Exorbitant.
they're-
Okay. So I'll tell you a
I'm
little.
saying when you're insuring it for $1 million, they're not going to be like, well, I guess there's nothing valuable in here. They're gonna know.
I'll tell
Just
you
a book.
I'll tell you a personal story about me in the post office that blew my mind when it happened, and I've gone online to look, and a lot of people have similar stories to me that happened to them, but what happened was, okay, so I had to spend many, many years in this. I was here for 10 years, got my citizenship, went and got sworn in. You get your certificate. It is a very emotional day. You're like, you got the certificate. It's like, they can't kick me out. I'm one of them. I'm in, and it's a wonderful feeling to become a new citizen of any country, not just America. If you've been trying to become a citizen of the country, it's a wonderful thing to feel acceptance. And they give you this certificate, and it looks like something that you'll frame. It's got a little gold lilty thing on it. It's got your picture on it. It's all like you've won a degree. It's a fantastic thing, right? Most official thing I've ever had. And then I go, all right, now I got to get my American passport. So they go, you go down to the post office, right? And you give them your certificate and they'll give you the passport. You go down there. There was a girl working there who fair income, right? She was on training, right? And she's just like, what do I do with these? And they go, I just put it in this envelope, send it to blah, 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 like that. She took my receipt for the thing. She stapled it to the corner of my certificate. I was like, oh no, right?
My most prized
My
possession.
most prized possession. And then I said, can I register that or something? They go, no, you're not allowed to for these citizenship things, right? Going off to the passport people, right? Because they don't want to be responsible for it or whatever. And so they sent it off and then they go, you should have it back in a few weeks, maybe, right? And I'm like, it was just there. I had no copy of it. I didn't even photocopy. It had just been sent out to the universe. Anyway, my passport came and then my citizenship certificate never came back. And I was just like, and then like 5 weeks later, there it is, rolled up and shoved into the slot of my mailbox, just hanging out. I was on a weekend of gigs. It had been sticking out of my mailbox out the front of my house for about 4 days.
Well,
Anyway.
we can Photoshop you a new one.
I've got it. No, I've got it.
Is it like?
It's
but
got
in good
it's got
condition now?
staple marks
Yeah.
in it.
That's
It's
what I'm saying.
all
We'll get you a
crinkled
new
up,
one.
but I have the bloody thing back.
Yeah.
But it got there, though. That's
It
the
got
point.
there.
So,
Thank you, post office.
no.
Nailed it again. How many lost letters? Can we tangibly say that? Because I feel like 1 in 20 of my letters get lost. Or is that I just exaggerating? Is it very rare? Or you know what I mean?
The post office regularly does studies through the Post Office Inspection Service, and it's very, very rare. Much less than 1 in 20.
Isn't that why people love the USPS so much? It's because like UPS and FedEx, if somebody's like in a really isolated destination or something like that, they won't go like the extra mile, and that's why the USPS is considered like the heroes of mail because they'll deliver it no matter where you are.
dog sled, 19th century
so
camels.
crazy.
Post office goes everywhere. Many
Okay.
more places than any other delivery service in the country.
Now, so I'm going to say something, sweeping statement. Every country in the world has a post office? Every country in the world?
Just about.
Yeah, every country in the world. Okay, so out of all, how do they all work together? So the Australian post office and the American post office, they're friends?
Good question.
Or do they ever not get
Best
along?
buddies.
No, but are they all mates? Or do they go, fuck, we have to deliver something to Guam? They're the worst.
Well, one of the first international organizations, the Universal Postal Union, still in existence today, goes back to 1874, coordinated the delivery of mail across national borders, figuring out who gets paid for what and what you can send in the mail. They sent parcels in the European countries, which dominated the UPU, long before the United States did. Long list of things you cannot send over international borders, and very complicated protocols for figuring out who gets paid for what to deliver from one place to another. The French, for a long time, they were right in the middle of Europe, and they figured, we're right in the middle of Europe, we're going to charge all those countries a lot of money to send their letters over or through France. And the other countries didn't like it, so the United States didn't like that, so they had to hash it out.
I mean, that's not
So, yeah.
surprising that the French did that.
The French were difficult, you say? How did
Shocking.
How did this not make the news?
The French have been bashed on every one of these podcasts so
I'm
far.
surprised Jim
Oh,
didn't do the accent.
No,
my new special coming out, I believe, July 7th, which is called Intolerant. The French get a big bashing. That special. I'll tell you what, if society ever becomes woke about French bashing, oh man,
You're
I'm
fucked.
cancelled. I'm cancelled. I bashed the French. Okay, so it would be safe to say that I can't think of anything else, maybe the Olympics, but the post office is the only thing that unites us all on a world scale. Can we deliver letters to North Korea?
That's a good question.
Oh.
There are protocols. It depends from where to where. I don't think you can do it directly from the United States, but I'm not certain about that.
During the Second World War, could an American mail something to a German?
There were protocols there too. A lot of the soldiers' mail was censored, and any mail from Germany would be censored, and whether or not it was stopped is a good question.
Right.
Well, they should have just texted.
Yeah, they probably definitely read that.
Yeah.
They read North Korea definitely reads your mail. I don't think they're just giving it sealed to that.
Oh, no, I would start it off like, when someone writes a nasty comment to you, what they do is put in the headline, I'm your biggest fan. So you open it up and then it's like, you're a piece of shit. So I would do that like Kim Jong-un. He's all right, isn't he? At the top of the letter.
They're like, this checks out. All good. Send it along.
Dennis Rodman rocks. All right, this guy seems like he's all right.
All right, so how is the United States Postal Service doing financially right now?
Well, the post office is in trouble. COVID-19 has hit it pretty hard, and it has been required under a 2006 law to prepay pensions. If it didn't have to prepay those pensions, it'd be pretty much breaking even. But with the pensions plus COVID-19, it's a couple, tens of billions of dollars in the hole. So that's a question for the future.
Now, will we bail it out? We should bail it out. It feels like it's a thing we still should use.
It seems to me we should bail it out. It's part of essential infrastructure like water. President Trump has raised questions about whether or not you should bail the post office out. So has his Secretary of Treasury. So it remains to be decided what Congress will do. So we're giving money to golf courses right now, but not post office.
Hasn't he been saying that USPS doesn't charge UPS and FedEx and Amazon enough, and they need to be charging 4 times more? So it's just like the cost for anybody sending mail would be astronomically higher.
Yeah, the specialists who've looked into that think that the post office has a pretty good arrangement with Amazon and the other carriers. And they all work together because the post office has the last mile. In many places the post office goes at FedEx or UPS don't go, and then Amazon wants to deliver. So the experts have said the president's wrong. Maybe not the first time that's
Shocking.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the controversy right now that's been in the news, Jim, is that the White House is rejecting the bailout for the Postal Service. Trump says he was going to block aid for it. And that's the question is if the United States Postal Service was eliminated, what are some of the problems with that? That's What do you think, Jim? Like if there was,
Well, if there's no,
do you think we need
po-
it? Do you think we need it?
We have to have it because it's, you know, it's the last line of defense. We still have to be able to send letters and stuff like that. There's a lot of old people who rely on it as well.
Yeah, like for drugs. That's like one of the
and you got to send drugs.
No, actual legal drugs, like stuff like my mom used to get drugs mailed to her in the mail, like for
Yeah, but your mum was a hippie.
Yeah.
Oh no, at the end, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I can get in trouble for this now, but I used to. I don't know.
Let's just know this about Forrest's mum. She called him Forrest. you want to think that this woman didn't take drugs at some stage?
Previous to medical marijuana being legal in Florida, it was very helpful to my mom. I would mail it to her, and she was that was her old hippie thing. She go, we're going to get busted and this and that. I'm like, Mom, I really hope they take us to court for me mailing medical marijuana to a cancer patient. And then they eventually legalized it, but I send it to her all the time, and there's, I guess that's illegal. Well, I guess I'm going to jail.
Yeah, Forrest brings out his special guilty with him in handcuffs. His dying mother and him trying to send marijuana. The career would boom.
What, so I guess I should get arrested.
Can I say something very quickly? I'm thinking that, and correct me if I'm wrong, statistically, the post office has the least amount of hot chicks working for it out of any industry. I've never seen a female postman
How would
come
you say
by.
statistically?
Well, there are studies.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking.
Yeah, from the eye check, right? Like they've never brought out a calendar, have they? There's never been a calendar called Go Postal. And here's Cindy, and she delivers things in Delaware.
Just two like envelopes over her nipples.
Speaking of that, okay, I have a list here of some famous postal workers.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're hot, but I'm just saying because.
Okay, I know some famous ones.
Okay, name as many as you can. Let's see if.
Son of Sam.
I don't know. I don't know if that's on the list.
What's his name?
What's his actual name?
Son of Sam. He was a postal worker. He used to hear the dogs all barking and stuff like that.
Is that true?
And, yeah. He thought the dogs were talking to him. There was a Seinfeld episode of when Newman had the Son of Sam bag.
I can look it up, but I don't know. You lost us?
We got you. Can you hear us?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry. This is funny.
Yeah.
I'm right about the hot postal workers.
We should make a calendar. That should be our first piece of merch.
Hey, I will put this out there if people are still listening while we're trying to fix this. If you are a hot postal worker, send us a picture. Prove me wrong.
Just like they said, statistically speaking.
Male or female. I'm not sexist.
Yeah.
Per capita.
If you're a hot postal worker, if you're hot, send us a photo. Send us in
we'll
a
rank
photo.
everybody
yeah,
next week.
And if I'm wrong, I'll come back on the show and go, wrong, we've found some hot postal workers.
Yeah, that's not even a Halloween costume you ever seen.
Yeah, they don't even make a sexy Halloween costume. They make a sexy Chewbacca. Just to put it in context, there's a sexy Chewbacca you can get out there, right? You can't get yourself a sexy postal worker. It's never been a fantasy. Women have been fucking milkmen, and they don't even exist anymore, and we still reference them. We still go, the milkman's come over, has he?
You wouldn't like if your girlfriend was like, hey, Mr. Jefferies, I've got your mail.
Yeah. I have something that needs to be put in my slot.
And then a dog bites her.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like I think it's great for role
No,
playing.
I'm saying that send us if you're a good looking postal worker, send us pics.
Male or female?
Male or female.
Okay.
Male or female.
Richard, do we have
Or
you
any
back?
of the other genders.
Do we have you back, Richard?
You got me back.
Awesome.
Okay, great.
Yeah, didn't miss much, Richard.
I did look it up. Son of Sam was a postal employee.
Son of Sam was a
David
postal.
Berkowitz.
David Berkowitz was a postal worker.
Anybody that didn't kill people? that you can think of?
No, I believe Brad Pitt was a postal worker for a while.
Again, I don't
Too
have
good
that on the
looking.
list. Yeah.
They got rid of him.
If Brad texts you a picture of him as a postal worker, that's going to be a win.
If Brad Pitt takes me a picture of him as a postal worker, then I'll look. I won't be in for a week.
Here's a couple. Bing Crosby and Walt Disney.
Bing Crosby was one.
Yeah, and Walt Disney.
Do you reckon Bing Crosby, when he was delivering his letters, was just walking down the street going,
Yeah, probably.
rather sweet or snail or... That's how he did it. And Walt Disney was like, he was just drawing little cartoons. If you got one of those letters...
Here you go
ooh.
one. Here's a hot one. Rock Hudson. He was a sex symbol.
Rock Hudson.
It says Rock Hudson was a
Hottie.
letter carrier in Winnetka, Illinois.
Winnetka.
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 Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Winnetka.
Rock Hudson.
That's what it says here. And then Richard is shaking his head. Yes. So yes. And then
That's right.
Charles Lindbergh. He was hot.
Lindbergh. It was the Lindbergh baby.
Yeah, I don't know if he was hot or not, but there you go. There, Rock Hudson was your. You get a picture of him.
My father wanted to be a post worker for a while when he had his last few years of like, because he liked going for walks.
Yeah.
And he thought, oh, that'll
and
be
he
good.
likes delivering his opinion on things.
Yeah. And I tell you what, my dad would pull away a bit of your mail. If it said vote Hillary, my dad, that letter would be lost.
All these ballots went missing. What happened, Gary?
Yeah. My dad wouldn't be the best but in Australia, he couldn't go for a walk. They put him on motorcycles because our houses are further apart. Now, in Britain is a great walking postman's thing because all your houses are next door to each other and it's all very flat. Britain, they walk all day, but in Australia, they ride around on motorcycles. My guy, I think, is in a truck. Comes around in a truck. I'm like, just do the suburb.
Here, you mean?
Yeah,
the mail trucks though. That's common.
Yeah, do it with a bag. I guess he's got parcels.
They get to drive on the wrong side of the car here for the post office because they want to be on the side where the mailbox is. So they drive on the right side. Did you notice
really?
that?
No, I didn't notice.
You didn't even notice that? Yeah, because you're used to like seeing people drive on that side of the car. But when I was little, I used to be like, whoa.
And they have no doors. You're like, danger.
So
I thought they were just British.
Speaking of ballots and stuff, you mentioned that. So just to go back to, if the postal service is eliminated, no postal ballot, there won't be any ballots. You can deliver those. No legal drugs for people living in isolated locations or that were unable to go to pharmacies. And then it would also increase the cost of everything else like FedEx, UPS, and then small businesses in rural locations and stuff like that. Plus the jobs. It says there's so many jobs. Almost 500,000. Is that correct?
Yes, about 500,000. Disproportionate number of veterans and minorities work for the post office. Good union jobs.
Right. So it's and they got a pension and it's a good gig. I sometimes find with the post, sometimes I put a letter in a mailbox and I'm like, no one's come and get this. It's like the one on the side of the road that's like a proper one. I'm like, that one, they're going to come by and get that one. But when you're in a fancy 5-star hotel, it's like 100 years old and they have that old like gold lilt slot that says mail.
Yeah.
And I just give it a go.
Yeah.
I never expect that letter to do much.
This is clearly for decoration.
But I do it. I shove it in there. I wonder if anyone's laughing at me.
You know what? I still get mail from 2 to 3 of the previous owners, and you can't stop that. Like you can go to the post office. Yeah, there should be a way to stop that.
Yeah, redirecting doesn't seem like it's the.
I scratched it out and I put is not at this address anymore. Return to sender, and you got to scratch out the barcode too, and then you try to send it back, and sometimes it just comes back again.
I'll just throw it away.
My girlfriend believes, and I think this is bullshit. She believes if you leave mail on top of your letterbox, they'll take it and post it for you.
What do you mean? Put the stamp on it?
Yeah, she goes, put a stamp on it. She leaves it on the top, thinking the mailman will take it and post it for her. And I think that's madness.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't trust that.
Nah, what do you mean?
So
you have a little flag on the side of your box, right?
Yeah.
You put the flag up to let them know there's a letter to take.
I thought they put the flag up to tell me, we've put it in. No. So I can sit in my house and go, the flag's up. Is that what that's for?
I think this is just for, as a kid, this is what I've known, right, Richard? You put the flag up when you have mail for them to take.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I didn't know that.
They've never put the flag up, though, for you, right?
I think I've put it up. Oh, hey, my son puts it up for a bit.
I love the idea that Jim's been sitting in the window in the front of his house waiting for the flag to go up. I
thought the flag went up. You got mail.
You get mail every day.
Yeah, but I thought the flag went up every day. I don't collect it. My girlfriend gets it. I thought she put the flag down. Or I thought maybe that I forgot to put the flag down and just left it.
No, the flag is if you have that's so you're gonna have to go tell her that she's right. You put the flag up if you put letters in there that you want the postman to take. Because sometimes if you don't have mail, they'll see the flag and they'll be like, I got to stop there and grab it.
Right, but isn't their option to try to empty their bag?
Yeah, well, they gotta deliver it too.
Yeah, they're delivering from their bag. Like at the end of the walk, they're like, when you're going for a hike and you go, now it's downhill, right? I'm in the downhill bit of the hike. This is the easy bit, right? You deliver all your stuff, your bag's getting lighter and lighter. Your bag starts at like 40 pounds. You get it down to 5 pounds, you're all right. And then bloody Kelly wants to deliver some drugs and they're left in the thing.
This is heavy.
Yeah, this is kilos of weight.
Okay. Professor Richard John, we're coming to the part where we call dinner party facts, and this is where we want to give our listeners a fact or two or three. I know you a couple here that I see that you've offered up to us. So that if someone happens to be talking about this subject at a bar or a restaurant or a dinner party, something like that, they can say something and sound really smart, like they really know what they're talking about. So you can give us more than one. I see there's a couple here. Tell us what you think.
Well, half the mail in the world is something. I don't know if that's
yeah.
No, that's good.
But say that again. Yeah,
half the mail in the world is delivered for USPS.
Yeah.
Postmaster General is the second highest paid government official.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
wait, Jim, guess the salary.
If it's the second highest, I'm going to say $1 million a year. Actually, no, it can't be that much because the president gets $400,000. So I'm going to say $250,000.
Something like that.
I think it was like 342.
340, something like that, around
Yeah.
there.
So the second highest behind the president in the government.
Yeah.
Higher
It's
than
a
the vice
huge
president.
operation.
Oh, wow.
You want some more?
Yeah.
Sure.
If you go to the Postal Museum in Washington, D.C., next to Union Station, you can see the beloved post office dog, Auni, which was stuffed in 1897, beloved by railway mail clerks who delivered the mail, sorted it on moving railroad cars. For about 100 years, cornerstone of postal delivery were these railroad cars where you had to sort so many 100 pieces of mail every hour. And there was a dog that was a beloved kind of companion in the Albany post office. And then they put him on a train and eventually he went around the world.
Oh, cool.
I don't know how you want that. I can give you another kind of odd fact.
Yeah, let's do one more. Yeah, we'll do one.
One more, you had
Zip
enough.
codes mean nothing,
No,
right?
one more.
Yeah, what's that zip code on the end for?
Yeah, what's all that about?
No, yeah, we'll take one more.
There was an anarchist named Lysander Spooner in 1844 who set up a company to compete with the post office. He believed that the monopoly was unconstitutional, called the American Letter Mail Company. He wanted to have a great Supreme Court case to test the constitutionality, but the post office lowered the rates, improved service, and Spooner never got his day in court.
Yeah,
But
suck
thank
it,
you,
Lysander.
thank you, Spooner, though, for lowering the
Yeah.
rates, man.
So he did do
you
something
go.
then. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so we need
competition.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the biggest crisis the post office has confronted until today in the 1840s, when about 9/10 of the mail on certain routes went with private rivals undercutting it. But Congress came through, lowered the rates, said you don't have to break even anymore, and that ended the crisis by 1851.
Now, is this a course that you teach, Professor, or is this something you're passionate about? How did you get into the postal?
He wrote a book too. Yeah.
I was interested not in the post office, but I was interested in bureaucracy.
Right.
What do Americans think about bureaucracy? And one of my professors said that the first bureaucracy in the United States was the post office. And I said, aha, I could write a book about that because I bet a lot of people had opinions. And they did.
Do you want to say the name of the book and how people can get it?
Yeah, I said it at the beginning. I said it at the beginning.
It's through postal.
I said it at the beginning. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can get it mailed to you, I assume.
You can say the name again. I said it at the beginning, but please tell us the name of your book.
The book's called Spreading the News, the American Postal System from Franklin to Morse. It's about the critical 50 years from the adoption of the Constitution up to the coming of the electric telegraph, when the post office was a wellspring of democracy. American politics grew out of the circulation of information that the post office made possible.
So Morse, I'm assuming, came up with the Morse code. Is Morse code, is that part of the postal service? Was that sending a telegram? Was that you go down the post office and did?
Whoa.
Excellent question. Samuel Morse wanted to sell his patent rights to the post office to put the post office and the telegraph under the same administration. And in fact, that's what happened in Britain and France and Japan and most of the rest of the world. 1870s, there was a popular movement it didn't happen with Morse, it stayed private. But in the 1870s, there was a popular movement for the government to take over the telegraph because the corporation running the telegraph was pretty unpopular and the post office was pretty popular and the post office ran better than the corporation. Ulysses S. Grant wanted the government to take over the telegraph and set up a postal telegraph. That was Morse's idea too, but didn't happen.
This is how old I am. When I was a kid, I remember going to weddings, and then the best man would read out all the telegraphs that people had sent around the world. That was part of the job as the best man. You'd go, and Jenny in Paris, who says she can't be here with us today, she wants to say wish you the best of luck in your marriage, right? And so Jenny would go down to a post office, send a telegraph because you couldn't have emails and that type of stuff, so she could send it right away as a message rather than send a letter. And that's, what am I, 100? How do I remember that?
Are you sure you just didn't see that in a movie or
No.
something?
That was still going on in the 80s. I'm
Wow.
telling you, that was still going on in the 80s because we didn't have email.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Well, thank you, Professor Richard John, for being here. Thank you very much. And
Thank you,
Thank you so much,
Professor.
yeah.
We really appreciate it. It's very informative. Now everyone knows about the post office.
Yeah, and we have one more segment. You're welcome to stick around, Professor, if you want, but it's not related to the Postal Service, but it's very short and you can hang on. If you have an opinion, you can throw it out there. This is called I Do Know About That. This is where we have a topic that Jim says that he knows about or talks about, and he thinks he knows a lot about it. And we ask him 3 questions to see if, in fact, he does know about it. And today's topic, very specific, West Side Story.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now tell people you love musicals.
I love musicals. I really love West Side Story, but I might fall up on a few things. But I think I know enough.
We've made them kind of hard.
Yeah, these are really obscure.
Yeah, so because I know that you know about them. So
Leonard Bernstein, Stephen Sondheim was the first thing that Stephen Sondheim ever did, and he was only the lyricist on it before he became Stephen Sondheim that we know today. And he was like a teenager, or he was like 20 or something. He was very, very young. And Maria is I'm going to throw out things first. Maria is the one piece of music that has the one word repeated over and over and over again, one name more than any other song.
Okay, are you a West Side Story fan, Professor Richard John?
Yeah, who doesn't like it? You're a jet or a shark.
It happened just down the street.
Okay, so
Steven Spielberg's remaking the film.
this is he?
Yeah, and now because you look like Natalie Wood. I just watched a Natalie Wood documentary. Natalie Wood was playing a Puerto Rican, and it was brown face.
Puerto Rican face.
It was Puerto Rican face, and so now if you're a young Puerto Rican girl, get an audition unless it's been cast already because it's a big role.
I can't wait to see the CG. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, so this was the first film to win an Oscar for it was the first film to win an Oscar for, I don't even know how to ask this fucking question. I'm asking it wrong.
It got a Best Director Oscar, but there was something notable about the award.
The way I wrote the question was wrong. First of its kind for the director, best director.
Female?
No, 2 directors.
2 directors.
Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, idiot. All right, so Robert Wise was one of the directors, and his original choice to play Tony was who?
Elvis Presley.
Did you know that, or did you guess?
Just guessed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
right.
that seems like would
Because
be.
it sounded like you guessed, and I was like, you know it.
I think Elvis Presley would have been a good casting.
However, Presley's manager, Colonel Tom Parker, refused since Elvis would only sing in 6 of the 12 songs and because he would not have exclusive rights to the soundtrack.
No, and the soundtrack was the biggest selling album of the year. Yeah. And still to this day, it's the biggest selling movie soundtrack apart from Saturday Night Fever, Bee Gees.
I've never seen West Side Story.
It's fantastic.
I couldn't
movie.
even tell you a song.
You haven't?
No,
it's a fantastic movie.
What's a song in West Side Story?
Maria.
America.
I want to be in America.
I only know that because your dad.
Be in America.
I looked it up after your dad sang that.
Could be, who knows? There's something due any day. I will know right away soon as it shows. It make him counting bowling down through the sky, gleaming its eye bright as a rose.
Are we gonna have to pay for this?
Or Elvis would have done like, who knows? There's something due any day. I will know right away as soon as it shows.
Okay, Riff and Tony repeat an oath of loyalty to each other. Riff says womb to tomb, and Tony answers birth to earth, right? On stage, Tony's original answer, instead of womb to tomb. I'm fucking up these questions.
I can see the comments already.
Riff says
Forrest has had a stroke.
Riff says womb to tomb, and Tony answers birth to earth. On stage, Tony's original answer, instead of birth to earth, was what?
Cradle to grave.
Sperm to worm.
Sperm to worm. Yeah, man.
Censorship fucked that one up.
Yeah, this was changed because of censorship. Let's see if
Officer
I can get one more
Krumsky.
question
That was a very salacious song because Crump You was like fuck you, and it was like had swing. Oh, Officer Krumsky, you're really a bum.
we can say Trump You now.
Okay, I promise I'll ask the last question correctly. All right.
Okay.
During the prologue, the Jets take a basketball from 2 kids and play with it. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Before they walk away, Riff throws it back to one of the kids. this kid that caught the basketball is the father of famous actors. Who was it?
Father of famous actors. I'm gonna say a very young Martin Sheen.
Yeah, I kind of threw you off by saying actors but one of them is it's Kit Culkin, father of the Culkin brothers.
Kit Culkin.
Yeah, that was their father that got the basketball in Culkin Brothers and the movies in the 90s and 2000s.
Yep.
There. All right, that was really good job by me asking questions today.
I love West Side Story.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again. It's been a really long time.
Somewhere there's a place for us.
Is there anything you want to promote, Jim, before we leave?
All right, July 7th, it's coming. New Netflix special, Intolerant. It's coming out. July 7th.
July 7th on Netflix.
July 7th on Netflix, and it's a good one. It's I recorded it in November, so it's a little dated. There's a few things in there that don't. I'll tell. Yeah, it's a little dated.
Okay, I have something coming out on June 26th. I have a EP called the Bella EP, named after my cat. And there's going to be an exclusive preview of the Bella EP on SiriusXM Thursday, June 24th at 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. on the Raw Dog channel 99. I'll post a link for a free preview of that as well too. So shout out to Paul Ovcharsky at Raw Dog for setting that up. Thank you.
And my birthday is June 30th.
June 30th is your birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we better
So,
get geared up for that.
Venmo me at Kelly Blackheart.
Okay, and again, thank you to our guest, Professor Richard John. Again, you can get his book on Amazon, right? And it'll be delivered in the mail. And it's called Spreading the News, the American Postal System from Franklin to Morris.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And that was I Don't Know About That. Remember, if you're at a party and someone says something that you don't know about, just say, I don't know about that, and walk away. You'll still win the argument. Good night, Australia.